Yes, we have convinced him to sacrifice his body and soul and to the YouTube algorithm, and he will be making content. How's the bloodletting ceremony?
Yeah, it's doing well. Now I do that every day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been feeling a little woozy, but the dogs have been cleaning up the mess, so it's all right.
That's how you know it's working.
Although the dogs have been cleaning up the mess and they've started, just licking me. So I think I've given them a taste for it. I probably need to be careful when I sleep now.
Yeah, probably. Don't leave any open wounds. Wrap it all up.
Yeah.
And that way you can open them again tomorrow. Keep opening the same spot, too.
This may sound like uncomfortable speak, but be ready for that when you watch Farscape.
Yeah, don't use uncomfortable speak. YouTube doesn't like it. Hello. Welcome to our podcast. Yes. Hello.
Yes, hello there, welcome. Yeah, I just wanted to do a little show talking about this little sci-fi show from back in the day called Farscape.
Yes, Farscape, yes. I remember it well. It was about grand designs in the countryside, wasn't it?
Yeah, we might be a little off there, but pretty close. This one is about an astronaut named John Crichton. And he's got this wild theory that if you go around the Earth in a spaceship real close, just skimming the edge of the atmosphere, you can slingshot yourself at extreme speed and visit other places in the solar system.
Yeah, the thing is, this is like... I don't know if the creators knew anything about orbital mechanics, but that's like one of the most basic things about it, isn't it?
It's the... Yeah, I mean, it's the classic
they've been using it to
slingshot
stuff out of the... Yeah, they've been using it to slingshot stuff out of the solar system for like, donkey's years.
Yeah, so John has this equation, this idea to, I don't know, I guess get more acceleration from the process. Because he does it by, literally, skimming the outer atmosphere.
That is
leaving
slow
this
you
big
down.
trail behind him. You would think so, wouldn't you? But, I don't know. He's got a special...
You're literally going through stuff, and also the atmosphere is not like water where it just stops. It's more like a gradient that goes right the hell out into space.
Sure, but what we call the outer atmosphere. But, John, he has this state-of-the-art, cutting-edge technology in his little capsule, the Farscape 1. So, yeah, that's how it starts off. We start the show the day of the launch, and he's broken quarantine, of course.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And he's sitting out on the beach watching the sunrise. With some kind of, not ominous music, or sort of ominous music. It's got a little bit of a dark tone, I think. And then, of course, we cut to he's at the... Now his organisation is the IASA.
International Aeronautics and Space Administration.
That's the one. And I believe they're working with NASA. They're using one of their shuttles to get him up there. The shuttle opens up, payload doors, and then he can launch.
I think they changed it mostly because of copyright.
Yeah, probably, but it is implied that it's NASA, the NASA facilities that they're using, because they're at Cape Canaveral. So what happens next, Shane?
Oh, well, he goes into... he has this really wholesome conversation with his best mate. They introduce this guy who we're never going to see again, and they introduce his dad who we're never going to see again, because we know the premise of the show. So
his dad is this legendary astronaut from back in the day. He's walked on the moon and everything. He's a living legend. John has to live up to this guy. And, he's a proud father. He's very proud of his son for his accomplishments. But John still does live in his dad's
He's
shadow.
very proud.
This will be the thing. If he succeeds here, this will be the, massive breakthrough. Breakthrough of the century in space travel. And John has a feeling that today everything's going to change for him.
He's got them rattlers in his stomach.
He has no idea how right he is.
He could probably take something for that.
Everything's going well. Payload doors open in orbit. And the Farscape 1 John's ready to launch. He takes off.
And this big wave of radiation starts coming towards the ship.
Oh, hold on, because first, he powers on his engines, he lines himself up, and he is just shooting around the Earth. But yes, then back at headquarters, they start to pick up there's some kind of electromagnetic wave flying right at him. It hits him, knocks him way off course. He gets sucked into this thing, this hole in space, it seems. It's going through this sort of vortex.
It's a little bit wormy, a wormhole, if you will.
Yeah, you might call it a wormhole. So, yeah, that happens. And now he's trying to radio Houston. He's wondering why he's lost contact. He's radioing for help. He's starting to realise, isn't he? And then these like attack ships, these fighter spacecraft, and then the asteroid moves out of the way, and he sees this giant ship, real weird looking ship too. So basically, John's somewhere weird. He doesn't know where he is. Some weird shit's about to go down. Shane, you can take it from here.
Oh, can I? Okay, all right. So he is hit by this fighter ship thing. Like clips it on the side, and it sends that fighter hurling into an asteroid. And remember this is going to come up later. And he slowly starts to dawn on him that he might not be anywhere near Earth.
Interject. Yeah. So this ship comes by, clips him on the wing, kind of knocks him off course a little bit. That ship goes spiraling into the asteroid. And then he starts getting pulled into that giant weird-looking ship. And I'm going to stop it here, I think. Because I think this show needs a little background. So, let's go with a quick summary. Let's see what Google has to say about this show. Because, now, this is the thing. Everywhere I look, I find a different description of this show that's slightly different. Some of them are even a little inaccurate, but... American astronaut John Crichton finds himself thrown across the universe when an experimental mission goes bad. Crichton teams up with a group of rebels involved in intergalactic battle and begins a journey unlike anything he dreamed was possible while trying to find a way back to Earth. It's nice and vague, and it really doesn't dig into what the show is like. But we're going to.
This show is fucking weird.
It is so weird.
Like, it is really weird and wonderful.
You might say it's very alien. They've done a really good job of making it feel alien. And also alienating, I think is the word, to begin with. Everything's so strange and uncomfortably weird.
Yeah, John Crichton completely unprepared for this, but he's been dreaming about this moment for his entire life. But when it actually arrives, he just can't handle it.
Yeah, and we do see him have a little bit of a breakdown, which you better get used to. By the way, Johnny Boy. I don't think I'm spoiling too much by saying this. Johnny Boy is certainly known for his little breakdowns, his little. But that's one of the things I think you'll come to love about him.
The show is basically about him trying to find a way home while losing his mind.
It's not always because she lost... In the beginning it is, definitely. But later on you'll come to find that he can use his little outburst to his advantage. You'll see.
Yes.
But he's an interesting character. Now, John... I wasn't sure what I thought of John to begin with. He was probably my least favourite character to begin with, and actually no, I wouldn't say least favourite. It was more that I didn't fully get him right away. But it might be a me thing. As the show goes on, I began to understand him more and more. But again, that actually goes for all of these characters. All these characters seem wild and unruly and abrasive, a lot of them, and just unpredictable.
And alien.
You put in a
very,
really
very alien.
uncomfortably, not too uncomfortable for the audience, because I love the weirdness. But for John, certainly, he's in an uncomfortable situation with all these people he clearly can't trust.
And he can't understand.
Who are very strange. Yes, and he can't understand. Yeah, do you want to talk about that bit now?
Yeah, sure. I kind of like a lot of the little things about this universe. Like in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, they have the babblefish. This fish that has this inconceivable ability to feed off incomprehensible things and excrete like comprehensible thought into your mind, so you can understand whatever anyone is saying, no matter what language.
Yeah.
In this universe, they have like these microbes that are injected into you, and they colonize at the base of your skull, and they just translate everything for you. To brush your teeth, you use this little worm thing that feeds off quark. It's like
I forgot about that. You're right.
Yeah, and it tastes minty even. It's like a fully fledged ecosystem.
Yeah, this world
that has just all evolved together.
It feels so lived in. It's basically the exact opposite of modern Star Wars, and I don't think that's a controversial take. Where everything, it feels like this is all going on in a living world, I guess, galactic community, and there's all these little things that just enrich the world building.
Yeah,
love it.
Yeah, it's like a community of symbiotic life forms just supporting each other. Like they did, like in human society, we sort of create our own environment around us, and we sort of live separate from the ecosystem. But they sort of evolved with their ecosystem. It's just beautiful. They live inside a living ship. Moira, the ship that they're all in.
Moya.
Moya. She's a living ship. And they serve her basic needs, and Moira offers them protection.
I should say now, it's not everyone who lives in equilibrium with their environment, but you do see a lot of that. And I think it makes sense because spacefaring civilizations or communities that last long enough into a spacefaring community of other planets and cultures, you'd have to be able to fit into your niche really well to last that long, I think.
Yeah, that was sort of the theme of the first few episodes. You know, John learning how to survive in this new context.
And it's very much a learning curve.
Yeah, trying to find his niche.
Season 1, there's a lot of stuff he's just so unfamiliar with. But it's cool. We've got some cool characters too. They've all got their own quirks and attributes.
Yeah, we should probably list off the characters, what they're like, the role that they serve in the story.
I suppose so. So, let's see, I've got a character list here somewhere. Where is it?
Yeah, you got John Crichton, obviously, the bonehead astronaut scientist who stumbled his way into the far reaches of space.
I should just say quickly, Moya is the ship we're talking about that his module gets pulled into. They use a tractor beam to pull him in because basically the occupants of this ship see him appear out of nowhere. As we find out, they are trying to escape from these people called the Peacekeepers, who've had them imprisoned inside Moya for a long time.
Yeah, they're like human, but not human because they're not
none of these people are human. Although...
Yeah, they're pretty much the laziest example of aliens I've seen, although that's kind of intentional. I mean... Crichton needs someone he could at least think about boning.
The Peacekeepers are from this race called Sebaceans. They're a spacefaring civilization. All of their population are essentially grown in a lab. Is it grown? Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure they're grown in a lab.
Pretty much. Selective breeding takes a lot of it. Yeah, a lot of eugenics.
I think there's some. If I remember right, I think some of them are born to parents, but they're like assigned to those parents, and then they don't get raised by them. They go straight into the military corps, and they get raised by that. Erin Sun, last name spelled S-U-N. She's a pilot and an officer in the military. She's got her own fighter ship called a Prowler. So what can you say about Erin? Basically, so Sebaceans look like humans. I don't know any other way to say it. They look human, but there's
this great scene
where
they're both
distinct differences biologically. Just on the outside, they do look very human.
Yeah, there's actually this really great scene where they're both locked up in the brig. and Rigel, the little slug monster guy, which we will get to. He says, "We can't trust you any more than we could trust that." And he points over to this scary looking person
with
in a flight
the big
suit.
eyes.
So she takes off the flight. And they're taking off the flight suit, and you're thinking, okay, it's going to be something weird underneath. And then it's just this lady. And John Crichton, he immediately changes his mood and goes up as if he's trying to pick her up.
Well,
It was the 90s.
Look, it doesn't read entirely like that. It's, I don't know, maybe. I feel like to me it was more...
It's like, hey,
to me it was more he lets his guard down because he realizes, oh, she's human. I can talk to her.
Yeah.
Goes, what does he do? He tries to shake her hand.
He walks up and he's trying to talk to her.
He's like, I'm John Crichton. And she just grabs his hand, just like whips it behind him and just pins him to the ground, rolls him over and just like, she like sits on him with her legs around his neck.
Yeah.
And she's like...
She immediately asks for his rank and his designation. She thinks that he's a Sebastian.
Yeah. She just assumes he's part of the military like her. Because, I mean, why wouldn't you? She's never seen human before. It takes a while for him to convince everybody that he's not Sebastian.
They also don't know what else he is, though.
Yeah.
They don't know what he actually is.
Says,
so they're just like, well, we can't trust
we found very unfamiliar microbes inside your body. So we know you're not Sebastian.
Anyway, let's talk about Zan.
So, and before we do, I just want to say, so the scene is really cool where John first walks onto the bridge. And sees all these aliens furiously trying to escape. They're trying to figure out how to get the control collar off of Moya. There's a lot to talk about here. The Sebastians, the peacekeepers have been using Moya, the living ship, but they've got this control collar over the nose of the ship that prevents any kind of free movement, so it can't act of its own will. So they're trying to get that off. They're trying to figure it out. And you're just hearing them speak in their alien languages. And they're all speaking different alien languages. And it's so bizarre and alien. It's probably the coolest, most alien moment. And John is so disoriented by all of this. And then this little robot comes up and injects him in the ankle with the translator microbes. And then we start to hear the voices slowly become English to him. Now, one of the first people he hears is Zan. Now, Zan, her full name is, let me see if I can get this right, Pao Zoto Zan. Now, I'm pretty sure I've said that a little bit wrong. But we end up just calling her Zan. Zan is a Delvian. She's blue. Quite a nice colour blue. She's got these kind of patterns on her.
And she's basically a plant.
And she's a type of plant. She's humanoid, but she's technically a plant species. Her people are very spiritual. She's actually she's kind of like a priestess in her order. But yeah, and now there's another character named Cardago. He's the other one on the bridge. We get a cool exchange between him and Zan, because these guys, they don't know each other either. They've all just escaped from their cells, and they've taken the ship. I love that moment where Dargo's like, I've heard of your people.
I've heard about your people and their practices. And their appetites.
Their appetites. And what do they call it? The fourth sensation.
Yeah, fourth sensation.
Delvians are very sexual beings.
They love to pollinate.
They do. There's an episode coming that will make that funny. So yeah, fourth sensation is kind of like, I don't know, you think you've felt good before? No, you haven't.
It's like 20 orgasms while you're on the moon.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, moving on. Cardago. So Dargo's a Luxon. He's a Luxon warrior. He's been in a couple
He's basically
wars.
the Klingon.
Yeah, they're very much like the Klingons, Luxons, except they don't have the forehead ridges. They've got these, it's like those people in Star Wars that have the tentacle heads. It's kind of like that a little bit, but he's also got hair. He carries this big sword.
Oh, and he can really work that tongue.
One of the first things he does to
the
John...
tongue is like a projectile thing.
John starts to hear him talking, and they're asking, how did you get here? Can we use it to escape? John's just freaking out, and starts yelling, and then Dargo shoots his tongue at John's neck and just knocks him out. So Luxons have this kind of poison that they can knock you out with their tongue by like shooting it at you.
Yeah, you see that scene, you just think, what else can you do with that tongue?
Yeah.
Let's get some Dargo first going.
So yeah, we got them.
Yes.
Who else? Oh yeah. Now, this is one of my favourite characters, but he's not exactly a good guy. Dominar Rigel the 16th.
Oh, the little slow
Now, this is one of the characters who is a Jim Henson puppet. A very good one.
Yes, this show mostly exists just so Jim Henson Company could have something to do.
Yeah, so he has this flying platform that he gets
wonderful.
around on. Because he's quite a small guy. Now, you might be wondering about that name. Dominar Rigel the 16th. He's a Hynerian. Now, the Hynerians have an enormous empire. And Rigel, he basically was the Dominar of 600 billion people. And we find out...
Yeah, and he was deposed by his traitorous cousin who...
while he was sleeping.
Yeah.
Who overthrew him.
Yes, so that's why he was in the prison. And now he's trying to regain his throne or something, but he's basically a bastard.
He is.
He's got a very
well, he's got an eye for everyone else's possessions, basically. Anything valuable or that could be valuable, he will steal it.
Yeah, they set up his character immediately, like almost as soon as he shows up. When Crichton is freaking out, he's on the floor, he doesn't know what's going on, and Rigel goes up to him, he's just like, "Oh, they brought you aboard, did they? Look, I'll look after you now, and you look after me later." Yeah,
that line, it just sounds so disturbing. And I guess it is, because who knows what he's got in mind. I guess you could liken Rigel to the... No, in Star Trek, the guys with the big ears. You know the ones.
What, the Gungans?
Oh, what? Oh, no, Star Trek. Did I say Star Wars? Star Trek.
You said Star Wars.
My bad.
I think I know what you're talking about.
I'm forgetting what they're called.
What are they called?
Star Trek.
I should know this. Ferengi.
The Ferengi. Think Ferengi when it comes to anything that might be worth anything. He's got a similar... He's not exactly the same.
The Ferengi likes to span off rules of acquisition, but
he's less
Rigel, he's just like, oh, that looks nice. I'll take that.
Yeah, he doesn't have the rules. He's not honourable or anything.
Yeah.
He just... Yeah. Well, there's an exchange between him and Crichton, while Crichton's putting his clothes back on after being apparently examined while he was unconscious. And...
It's like, I don't need to talk to you, I'm Rigel the 16th or something.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I don't have to talk to a lower life form like you. And then he's like, he's asking about John's possessions. He's like, no, they're my possessions. They're for me, they're mine. And he's like, and Rigel's like flying away. He's just like,
oh yeah, that was in the end.
Are you a sound sleeper? That was at the end, actually, yeah. But yeah, we get the feeling John's going to be locking his room. They this doesn't happen to the next one, but it's not a spoiler really. They end up using the cells in Moya as rooms because they're kind of like turned into cells. So they can lock their rooms behind bars, kind of thing. But then again, I don't know. Rigel can probably get through some of them bars. I don't know.
Slimy little bastard. I love Rigel.
So yeah, we got Rigel. Who have we... Okay, I think we've ticked off most of them. Very important person when it comes to Moya is Pilot.
Oh yeah, how could we forget Pilot?
Pilot doesn't get much to do in this episode yet.
Pilot is like this crustacean guy who lives at the heart of Moya. He's got multiple arms and he controls all the vital systems.
He has tentacles basically that go all through the ship. He's integrated with the ship. You can't remove him. He's pretty much a symbiote with Moira, just
with Moira, him gaining nourishment and energy from Moira, and Moira depending on him to keep her alive. Yeah, a little bit like the microbes that live inside our bodies.
Yeah. So Pilot, and he's just called Pilot, from the race that everyone just calls the pilots, or operators is another word they use for him. He's the helmsman. He tells them what Moya wants and what's going on, stuff like that.
Yeah, he's a little bit like Scotty in some ways.
Yeah, kind of.
Like, we need to go faster, Scotty. She just can't do it, Captain.
He's stuck in his own room. A big room, though.
Very big room. And he
and
is
where
massive.
he is, he's in this kind of big platform in the middle of this big open area, and there's just bridges leading to him. It's pretty cool. It looks cool. Moya is quite a big ship, by the way. It's got a lot of open space inside it. So yeah, so we've got Pilot. Now, there's one more character that I do want to... One more relevant character for this episode, and that's the villain.
Yes, remember that ship in the start that Crichton accidentally flung into an asteroid?
So there was a pilot in there, and guess whose brother it is? Only the commander of the Peacekeeper command carrier that is attacking Moya, Byalar Crace is his name. He's Sebastian. Born in a Sebastian farming colony, but while he was still a boy, he and his younger brother Tovo were taken from their family and conscripted into the Peacekeeper military. As they were hauled away, Crace's father charged him to look after his younger brother, which was a major burden for Crace. Over the years, Byalar caught the eye of his superiors and quickly rose through the ranks and gained the rank of captain and the command of a command carrier, a position rarely achieved by a peacekeeper not born on a carrier. So most of them are born on carriers. These carriers are enormous. Like, you'll get to see inside one in a later season, and they're so big. It's crazy. So yeah, it's a big deal to be in charge of a command carrier. You have a whole population on this thing. So yeah, like, you've basically got an entire army to yourself. Now, the reason I read that is just to give you a bit of an idea of what it means to Crace that his brother just got killed meaninglessly. So he has the image of the module enhanced so he can see who's inside it. Now he's after him. He's after Crichton.
It's sort of a Shakespearean sort of villain. You know, he's on an infinite revenge quest. You know, he's convinced that Crichton is this Machiavellian villain who has just come out of nowhere to destroy his life.
That's it. And you have to remember, this is a different part of the galaxy. None of these people know where John came from. They don't know what level of society he comes from or anything like that. There's one part where Crace refers to the module as a white death pod or something? Yeah, so...
It's like, oh, it doesn't have any weapons capability. What are you talking about?
Yeah, alright, so that's all the characters that are relevant in this episode.
Yeah, so going back to Sebastian, though, she actually comes to become part of the crew.
Yeah.
Yeah, through adversity. I mean, she convinces John to try and escape with her, and he's constantly second guessing, thinking maybe I'm on the wrong side here. Maybe the lady who looks human isn't the right choice.
Yes,
in this situation.
And by the way, Erin is very combative, very closed off, and very violent.
Yeah, she was raised as a Nazi, basically, to think
Pretty
of everybody who is not like her as inferior.
Yeah, and in this episode,
she views these people as criminals, not as people.
You do hear her refer to everyone else on the ship when she's with Crichton as low life forms. Yeah, and she can't understand why he would want to help them in the slightest.
Yeah, at one point it's just like, I'll go back to my cell. I'm on the wrong side.
Yeah. So where are we up to now? So they, Yeah,
they're at like this planet to try and get some more fluid for the ship because Dargo decided to rip out all the wires when they were trying to escape.
It did get
the leaked a lot of fluid that was essential.
The control collar did get it to come off. So that means now they can actually make a getaway, but they have no idea how to go about it. They don't know what to do.
They end up going. They end up escaping through a starburst.
No. In this instance, they do know what to do. Yeah. There's this special thing that Leviathans can do. It's called Starburst, where they open up basically a rift in space-time and they can travel through it.
Yeah, basically their version of FTL travel.
Yeah. And that's basically the Leviathan's main defense mechanism. Once they've done it, they can't do it again right away. They've got to wait several hours to kind of build up their energy again.
Hey, Geoff, we got to stop.
Okay.
Your wife wants to make a smoothie.
All right. Pause.
Okay. So, so after they go into the starburst, go to a different part of space. They realize that their fluids are low because Dargo decided to rip all of them out while they were trying to escape. It worked, but it resulted in Moira losing a lot of fluid that she needs to function. So they had to go to this commerce planet in order to get some, and it's around this time when it's around this time where John and his new friend decide to escape.
Yeah, John and Aaron escape on a prowler, go down to the planet.
Yeah. So this planet, once they get down there, it's like complete culture shock. Aaron Sun, she wants to find a contact point so she could call her people, but he is just suddenly in a sea of people who are not human.
Yeah, and like this,
and all these insectoids,
flying car kind of things everywhere, and whole big teeming city just full of weird stuff. And John's just like...
and he's just looking all over the place.
I'm on another planet.
Yeah, just completely frozen in that realization. He was just going along with the motions until then. He's just like, wait, what the fuck?
Yeah, because until now, he had no idea what part of space he's in. He has no way of knowing where he ended up. Well, basically, he's a lot further away than he thought. And Aaron, I think she does call in, doesn't she, to her superiors, I think. Yeah,
she does.
Which leads to a confrontation that doesn't go the way she expects.
Yeah, old mate with a grudge. The guy whose brother died. He's got a grudge now, and he's just like, "Oh, so you're the murderer? Oh, okay. Well, you're a different species, are you? Well, I will have fun dissecting you."
So Aaron pipes up and says, like, I've spent a little bit of time with him now. I believe that it would have been an accident. I don't think he's even intelligent or brave enough to attack a prowler." And he turns on her and goes like, "How much time have you spent with him? We've got strict protocols about contact with unknown aliens. You could be contaminated." And he basically implies that she can never return home without being locked up.
So now she's stuck. Yeah, she has no choice but to go along with these lesser life forms, and along her journey, she really grows as a character, starts to learn to appreciate.
Very slowly. Erin's probably the slowest. She's so defensive and she's got her walls up. And then you've got John, the way he is, chipping away at it.
Yeah.
That basically leaves them. They do escape. They end up making a truce and getting away. And that's kind of the setup for the series in a way. Well, it literally is, really.
It's a pilot episode.
So, I'm looking forward to episode 2. I haven't watched them in probably about a year or two. So I don't remember exactly what goes on. But
we watched these on original broadcast, didn't we?
We watched a few of them, at least, when it first came out.
Yeah, I remember us going downstairs to watch it on the old CRT TV that we had in the laundry room because Dad was boring and he didn't want to watch weird sci-fi shows.
Yeah, too weird for him. Not believable.
Not believable. It's the most believable alien show I've seen.
One of his favourite movies is Independence Day, though.
Oh my god!
So it's a strange,
the stupidest, hokiest sci-fi thing ever. It's a parody of any alien invasion movie that came before it with explosions.
Independence Day isn't. It's a great, fun movie.
Yeah, it's a good popcorn movie, but it's not
It
realistic.
doesn't make a whole lot of sense, though. It plays it fast and loose with...
the word reality?
yeah. But boy, they make it fun. Oh, they do.
It is a fun movie, but it's not... Yeah, it's not good sci-fi.
It's like Men in Black in a way. It has no interest in genuinely being believable and having solid science or anything like that. It's not there for that. It's there for the other stuff. It's there to be entertaining and fun, which that has merits too.
And this show is also there to be entertaining and fun, but it's also very believable. This is how a human would react if they were put in that situation. Especially someone who is a scientist and who has dreamed of meeting aliens his entire life. Yeah,
all of this is very overwhelming for John, but he does... Yeah, he kind of settles in the end. And he starts making this recording, because he's got a note taker with a little audio tape in it. He starts making a recording to his father. He doesn't think he'll ever hear it, but just in case. And he's telling him about, Dad, there's Like, there's life out here.
Weird, psychotic life.
Psychotic life. And he does it while he's fixing the little... One of the little robots.
When he landed, he accidentally broke
DRDs.
one of the eyes on the little robots that's coming around the ship. They're sort of like the antibodies of Moira.
They're these little yellow...
They're just there to sort of do little...
Yeah, these little yellow things. Like yeah, they got these eyes on stalks. And he uses some of his... he's got some, like, electrical tape in his bag, and he uses it to fix up the eye. Makes friends with one of the DRDs. The DRDs do, like, maintenance on the ship, stuff like that. Oh, and they can also inject you with translator microbes.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, the translator microbes, how does language still exist if everybody could just understand everyone else? I mean, if you're injected at birth.
They explore it a little bit more in a later season.
Surely language would deteriorate over time, because no matter what you say, somebody's going to understand it.
Yeah, and that's the thing that can happen, yeah. There's a character in a later season who has to... Because they're going to one of the characters' home planets, and they need to learn the language. Because they can understand people, but people on the planet don't have translator microbes, so they won't understand them. So if you're talking to people who don't have the translator microbes, you've got to learn their language. So it is interesting. I think it works. But yeah, you'd probably get pretty lazy with how you speak your own language after a while.
Yeah, it's like what happened when people started using emojis in general conversation.
Yeah, I think it's Rigel criticises John. He's like, I'm amazed that you weren't just injected with these at birth like everyone else. So that's the first episode. It's called Through the Eye of a Needle, I believe. Through the Eye of the Needle.
It's a very good setup for the series, which is frankly bizarre. It's
a showcase of what we're going to see, in a way. It's a showcase of what's to come a bit. It touches on a lot of elements that are going to remain present in the series.
This show it's sort of like a cross between Doctor Who and Star Trek. You know, where it's like a crew of people on the ship. Every episode there's a new location,
it's
new
interesting.
Adventure, a new problem they have to solve. I guess it's more similar to Star Trek, only less regimented.
It's interesting you say that, because another thing that I was going to touch on. This show was one of the main inspirations for James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy. It's very similar. You've got this crew of fugitives. They're all misfits. They're all they clash with each other constantly. You've got the human who's a bit immature. Just so many pop culture references all the time that none of them understand. They just have to get used to it.
You've even got the love interest who was also a really tough one.
Yeah. I mean, basically, all the dynamics in Guardians of the Galaxy are virtually torn from this show, which isn't a bad thing because it works really well. But it works especially well in this show. Because we have time for it all to play out. We have time for the relationships to change and develop, and it's kind of beautiful how it happens over the series, for better and worse.
I really like Zan. She's sort of like the motherly influence of the group.
She is. She's quite motherly.
She's the empath. She's also sexy as hell.
Yeah, that too. It's not uncommon to accidentally walk in on Zan fully nude, meditating, or just walk in on her just being fully nude and not caring and making the others uncomfortable.
There's this wonderful moment in an episode where this guy is he's naked and he's just like he's taunting her, just like, have you not seen a male naked before? And then she just opens her robe and she's just like, is nudity a taboo in your species? Very interesting. It doesn't affect me.
Yeah, and she has such a calming voice.
Oh, she's wonderful. Yeah, she's the main emotional amazing anchor for most of the crew. Sam. She helps John with assimilating into his new situation, and she always wants to help someone.
She's also slightly telepathic, in the same way that in Star Trek. I said the right one this time. The Vulcans are slightly telepathic. Yeah. They can connect with your mind through contact, and Zan can do it, and that'll come into play later too. That's the thing that they can do.
Yeah, they do this one episode on drug use of all things. This guy who's like a prisoner on their ship, he's one of the enemies that they're trying to rescue one of their people from. and she's trying to help him through his withdrawal symptoms.
Yeah, there's a lot of adult themes in this show. Like, you'd think Jim Henson, puppets, and by the way, a lot of aliens are puppets.
Oh my god!
Very big ones too. You'd be forgiven for thinking it's very family friendly.
It allows them to make them truly alien.
There's a lot of adult themes, drug use, that kind of thing, sex. It's all present throughout the whole thing. There's a lot of that.
I remember watching an episode when we were a kid, and Sebastian lady, she's like, I'm not good with names.
Erin.
They are in like an air vent on this ship, doing this important thing to try and get a thing, and she brings up out of nowhere, "Hey, do you want to fuck? I think we're going to end up fucking. Let's fuck."
Yeah, we're biologically compatible.
It's like, shouldn't we be focusing on the matter at hand at the moment? She's just like, "Oh, come on, I know you want to," and she actually takes her shirt off.
Yeah.
It's just like, what?
And then,
seriously,
as she does, the vent gives way and they fall through it. Yeah.
It's not just horniness though. There's also really interesting situations. Like there's I think the second episode is like, we'll get to it later, but it's like literally a Hollywood B movie where the human is put in the position of being the alien and the locals reacting to it. Yeah, it is brilliant. John is he's basically being E.T. in this situation where this woman and a child are just like, how do we know we can trust you? And they're just like geeking out over him because she's been waiting for this moment her entire life. But every single movement he makes, she has to treat with suspicion because she doesn't know how he thinks or what he is.
She doesn't even know if she's going to be poisoned by touching him.
It's such a good episode.
Because, aliens,
exactly. It could be like the Pating from Doctor Who. Oh, God, I mentioned the Pating. Why did I mention the Pating?
Good old Pating.
Oh, God, I've cursed this podcast. It's all over.
Well, while you have that little nervous breakdown, I'm going to bring up the most important moment from the first episode that we haven't touched on yet. Now, the crew, they're all having a bit of an argument. They're trying to figure out what to do. And Dargo's talking, and as he's talking, and he's angry, his voice starts to get higher and higher pitched. It becomes very squeaky. We come to find out that Rigel, the little slug man, when he farts...
It's a perfectly natural bodily function.
He farts helium.
And it's odorless.
Now, this will come back in the series, because it happens every time he's nervous or anxious or feels trapped. He starts farting, and everyone around him starts talking all squeaky voice.
I love it.
It's one of those things that's ever present and just keeps happening. And it's just part of his biology.
It's brilliant.
Some of the ways they get out of jams in this show are hilarious, and one of them does involve Rigel's farts.
I love the way they sort of come to appreciate each other, though. Like, it's really, this is a show about family.
It is, but it, unlike a lot of shows or movies where you have this group of people who are clashing and then they warm to each other, it does take a while for these guys. Now, they make progress throughout, but it pays off more when they start considering one another friends.
I think Dargo actually comes to...
because of how long it takes.
Surprisingly, it doesn't take very long for Dargo to
it does and it doesn't.
Like, he walks to the Peacekeeper almost immediately, second episode.
Yeah, a bit, but he is still a little bit standoffish.
Yeah, he's also literally a Klingon,
he doesn't fully relax for a while.
He's literally a Klingon. I mean, he appreciates a good fighter, and she is a good fighter.
Oh, Can we talk about Dargo's gun? I mean, sword?
That doesn't come up until, like, episode 4.
Well, he's got a pretty cool sword.
It is a cool sword.
I'm just gonna say
it's
that.
A sword and an energy weapon. Like, it transforms into a gun, and it's brilliant.
Okay, I guess we are talking about it.
Yes, we are talking about it now.
Yeah. It's a sword, but the blade is in two halves that are kind of put together. But he can transform it very quickly, and two blades come apart, and it becomes a like an energy rifle, kind of like a pulse rifle kind of thing. And he's had it for a very long time. It's been handed down through his family, from warrior to warrior. It's actually very old. You find out later.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a couple 100 years old, something like that. So yeah, that's it pretty much.
That's Farscape. You should definitely watch it.
That is Farscape.
Where is it available to watch in Australia?
Now that's the tricky part, unless you own it on DVD or Blu-ray.
Yeah, we had to get it on like Blu-ray or something because we lost access to it. Because Australia is constantly losing access to stuff.
Yeah, because I was watching it on Prime. watching it on Prime, but they took it off. Hopefully it'll pop up again. In the US, there are places you can stream it, though. I know that. But there are ways. There are always ways.
Yes, incidentally, this podcast is sponsored by NordVPN. We're not. No, totally joking.
No. No, obviously, we are sponsored by Rad Shaggy Lemons.
I've never heard of that.
That's what it's called, right? Something like that. Anyway.
We're sponsored by D's Nuts.
I've got a little bit of trivia on this show.
Yeah.
If you're interested.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, first off, and this is, I'm just gonna back up what I said earlier. James Gunn was asked on Twitter in 2016 if he had ever seen Farscape, as it has similarities in terms of character and stuff like that. He replied that of all the TV shows, Farscape was the one that influenced Guardians of the Galaxy the most. See, I wasn't just pulling that out of my butt.
I still think you're pulling it out of your butt.
That is actually true. I mean, it was probably the best decision he made. It works so well.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, I should mention, this show is filmed in Australia.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
It was made in Australia. It was a joint production between the Hallmark Channel and Channel 9 here in Australia.
Oh crap, I didn't know that. How did I not know that?
So that, it was like both funded by them, I believe. Yeah, and I think it, from remembering right, it aired on the Sci-Fi Channel in the US. Here's one of the reasons I think the show hasn't gotten the recognition it deserves. In the US, when it aired, so they'd be airing episodes and then, like, suddenly they'd stop for like a few weeks or up to a month because that like something else is going on. I don't know. Yeah, the show would just stop. And then by the time it started again, you couldn't really remember what was going on. And I think they even aired a few of them out of order, just to confuse people even more. And this is a show that has continuity from episode to episode. Like, it is episodic, but it has an overarching narrative as well. Another show that happened to was Firefly. I'm pretty sure Firefly was aired largely out of order, so it was impossible to follow.
There was one of many examples of Fox sabotaging.
Yeah, it's such a shame. It used to happen so much. Hopefully less now. I think less now, but they would just shoot themselves in the foot. They'd have a good product, good show, and then they would just tamper with it. It's such a shame. But the show, we still have the show, and it's kind of timeless, I think. I see it as pretty timeless.
Yeah, when they use CGI, you kind of wish they didn't. Like, there's this one scene where they have to film Rigel walking up to something and crawling into something, and it's just like, why would you even put yourself in that situation? You don't. But
they don't noticeably use CGI very much. Not in a way that stands out too much. Because most of the stuff is, like, especially with characters, is practical. Pilot is one of the biggest puppets I think I've ever seen. Although
he is massive.
In this episode, there is one bigger, and it's on the Commerce Planet. Rigel's trying to barter with him. He's enormous. He's got giant teeth. He looks really cool.
I love Rigel's bartering method, by the way. Yeah, just insulting the guy.
Yeah, well, he does it to everyone.
3 shekels. Oh, in my day, you would have been shot for that. You slimy parasite.
Yeah, here we go. First broadcast on Sci-Fi Channel in the US, back when it was scifi. So it was noted for its erratic scheduling, with hiatuses lasting months, often occurring mid-season, like after a cliffhanger or something. For example, the final 4 episodes of Season 1 aired beginning in January 2000, nearly 4 months after the broadcast of the preceding episode. The final 4 episodes of season 3 were separated from the rest of the season by a gap of more than 6 months. This was a very hard show to follow in the US when it aired.
It's something you can't imagine happening today. Today when everything is narrative driven, not very episodic.
Yeah, it was one of the first shows that I saw that did a good job of doing the continuing story arcs while still being fairly episodic. It did a good job of that. I know other ones did that beforehand, but they kind of take it to a new level.
Yeah.
Visually, this show looks awesome. Even though, it was airing it was made in 1999. I don't know, I love the aesthetic.
Yeah. Yeah, on Blu-ray quality, high definition, you can sort of tell that the set's made out of tinfoil and styrofoam.
Sometimes, yeah,
but
you do notice.
It doesn't really matter that much.
The odd thing like that from time to time.
Then again, I'm also into classic Doctor Who, where the sets were literally made out of cardboard.
But the sets do look great, though.
Oh yeah, they look fantastic.
There's a lot of work put into them. They look brilliant. The interior of Moya looks really cool. It reminds me like a little bit of the 11th Doctor's TARDIS interior, how he's got that coloration, the copper everywhere.
Yeah, and it sort of seems like it's grown rather than...
Yeah, the Moya looks very much like, even just in the corridors, looks grown. It looks like, it reminds me a little of like a seashell. You see the different layers, that the different lines from different seasons as they grow, which I really like. Most of this show takes place inside of Moya, so it's nice that the sets look great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting deeper into the show because there's a lot of crazy stuff starts happening. Apparently,
there's a lot of stuff I keep wanting to talk about, but we're not up to it yet. Because this episode is just an introduction. So it hasn't dug into the finer details of everything just yet.
Yeah, well, I think we've run out of stuff to talk about.
Oh, yeah, possibly. Let me just consult the bones.
Yeah, shake them in your hand.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yes.
We do find out why everybody was imprisoned in the first place.
Basically for being lower life forms.
Yeah, more or less. They've all got their own backstory, which does get fleshed out later. But Zan does describe herself as an anarchist among her people.
I love Zan.
Interesting. Well, unless you've got something else.
No, not really.
We've probably covered it.
Yeah, might leave it at that. So this was our first podcast.
Shaky start.
Yeah, if you enjoyed what you heard, please leave something in the comments. Check out the show. Give it a watch. It's brilliant.
It is well worth watching. You'll know if you're onto something from the first episode, because like I say, it's a showcase of just the tip of the iceberg of what's to come.
Isn't it amazing how Australian productions usually have to set everything in the United States or have it be American-centric?
Yeah, this one doesn't really need to because of the setting.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the stuff on Earth, is American-centric, although some of it's not. But, it goes alright, hey.
Yeah. Sorry for the lack of Doctor Who mentioned in this video. This is a different thing. I like other stuff too.
I was planning on keeping a tally of how often Shane mentioned Doctor Who or steered the conversation in that direction. It's gonna happen.
Oh, believe me, it's gonna happen. This show, Doctor Who is one of the most influential shows ever. Just about every other show is cribbing from it. So it's there's gonna be some references here and there.
Yeah, and sometimes you need to reference something else to give context to what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I think I've done that several times already.
Yeah, I'm also going to be mentioning Star Trek a lot too because I am a Trekkie. But anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Check out Geoff's channel, which is
GeoF209.
Is that a 0 or no?
It's a tricky one. No, it's the letter O.
Oh, lovely! I love it.
Geoff209.
There will be a link in the description.
And the O is literal.
Yep.
Yeah, leave a link because that sounds confusing even to me.
It's...
but it has a lot of old content from when I was 18, so don't judge me too harshly.
Oh,
but I will be coming out with some new stuff soon.
Yeah, he's... Yes, we have convinced him to sacrifice his body and soul and to the YouTube algorithm, and he will be making content How's the bloodletting ceremony?
Yeah, it's doing well. Now, I do that every day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been feeling a little woozy, but, the dogs have been cleaning up the mess, so it's alright.
That's how you know it's working.
Although, the dogs have been cleaning up the mess and they've started, just licking me. So I think I've given them a taste for it. I probably need to be careful when I sleep now.
Yeah, probably. Don't leave any open wounds. Wrap it all up.
Yeah.
And that way you can open them again tomorrow. Keep opening the same spot, too.
This may sound like uncomfortable speak, but be ready for that when you watch Farscape.
Don't use uncomfortable speak. YouTube doesn't like it.
I know I'm dragging this out a bit, but do you want to give a bit of a rating to this episode, or any final words?
Even when I do ranking videos, and I've only done a couple, I don't usually do any sort of linear rating.
Yeah.
Because I don't think what place they come sort of matters. But as far as
I think, how about a summary?
as far as openings to a series, though, this is probably top tier. Yeah, it introduces the world.
It is one of the better
it
pilots
introduces the characters. Yeah, it's a brilliant pilot.
It is, and it jumps straight into everything. There's no slow burn. It just jumps straight into everything. It's got a lot to do, and it does a damn good job of it. I'm going to give it 10.5 Rigels out of a scale that I'm not going to specify.
Yes, I love it.
So do with that what you will.
10.5 Rigels out of I don't know. Yeah, just 10.5 Rigels.
We'll determine the scale by the end.
Yes, well.
And then all of our ratings will make sense, hopefully.
Yeah, I think we better end it there, though.
All right.
Yeah, this
Cheerio.
is how phone calls usually go. We keep saying we're going to hang up, and then we don't.
Yeah, until one of us just